That is really the question. Is it really a sacrifice?
Because you love it.
Exactly. To me, it's also a real question is the word discipline. Because I tell you, I felt many times that I'm not a disciplined person. But people always insist and say, oh, it must take so much discipline every day to get up. And every day you were in the gym at 7 in the morning and you worked at the 9:30 in the morning. And then you went to college after that. And then you went this and that. And you worked in construction. So I was like looking forward to getting up in the morning and looking forward driving to the gym and working out 2.5 hours and then going down to the beach and taking a run in the deep sand and getting some cardio work done and all this stuff. I say I was looking forward to it. It was not like, oh my God, I have to do another workout. Yes, you do that when, for instance, sometimes people go to the gym and the doctor says, you should go to the gym and you should work out because otherwise, I see some problems coming up, high cholesterol and body fat and this and that. And you're going to go and wipe out, 10 years younger than you want to. If there's ever the right time to wipe out. But I mean, in any case, so that person you can see in the gym is there and they do their reps and they do their sets and they're not really into it. You can see there's no life in their eyes. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like they grab the weight and they just do their sets and they get the pump and they feel good and they put the weights down and get the next heavier weight and they do the set. And so that's really fun. But that person is kind of like a vegetable in a way. They just cruise around in the gym. They sit on the life cycle and they just pedal away. And when you say to them, so why do you work out? They have no answer. Then eventually they say, well, to be honest with you, the doctor told me that I should get in shape. That's better for my health. To bring my blood pressure down and my cholesterol down and my body fat down and all this. So they're not really, so I say to them always, I said, what you should do is you should just pick a goal that you can chase. They would say, like, what? I said, well, how much do you weigh? I'm weighing 190 pounds and I want to lower my body weight. I said, well, why don't you pick a goal like you want to go down to 170? And it is now March, and by August, when you go to the beach, you're going to have a slimmer waist, less body fat, and you look leaner, and you can be proud of your body. I said, pick that goal. Oh, that's a good idea. I said, write it down, and then write down the sets you have to do to get you there, and the amount of reps you have to do, and the amount of life cycle that you have to run. And regular bicycling and running that you have to do. Write all of this down and then you mark it off. Every day you mark it off. That's what I did. To me, there was really that feedback that I see a line being crossed. That means one more set was done. It was a satisfying kind of a thing. The line was crossed off. The next line was crossed off. And so I tell people that and then they say, oh my God, this is, I'm going to do that. That is such a great idea. Then they come back to me like a few months later and they say, this worked.
Oh, good.
It was unbelievable. It worked. It was fantastic. And it really gave me a purpose. You see, so that's what why it's so important to have a purpose when you do things, to have a clear vision when you do things, because then you don't have to look at it kind of like I have to be really disciplined to do that, or I have to make certain sacrifices to do that, because then it just drags you into that direction and you just do the work. So that's what I think is always that. But clearly there were sacrifices. Like, let me just give you one example.
Yeah, please.
What do you think it's like when you go and you run for governor and you promise the people that you are going to be my number one priority? Now you win. Now you have to do the work. But now you come home and your kids are crying on the dinner table when you come home. And Daddy, you didn't come to my recital on Monday. Daddy, you didn't come to my football practice on Tuesday. Daddy, you promised me that you come into the school and you take me to school. You didn't this week. So that is devastating when the kids are crying and complaining and you say to yourself, I promised the people that they're number one, but I also promised my family. I promised my wife when we had the first child they're going to be number one. So there's a dilemma. Now you're in a dilemma, and now you have to make certain sacrifices. And I had to make certain sacrifices when it comes to spending time with my family, where my wife had to pick up the slacks, and she had to do the extra work. So there were sacrifices made that were painful sometimes. When you see your kids crying, that's painful. And then you know it's your fault. But that's the situation you're in. And you put yourself in this situation. You had a choice to run for governor or not to run for governor, right? If I would have continued with my movie business, those kids were in heaven because they were in a movie in my makeup trailer. They were watching me getting made up as the Terminator or for any of those kind of movies. They were in my motorhome and they were doing their homework in the afternoon there. They brought their friends with them. So that was fun. Now all of a sudden they go up to Sacramento and everyone is running around with a suit and with a tie. And they come to me and says, Dad, what is this? What did you do? Why are you having this job? Now, they were like 11, 12 years old. And they said, why do you have this job now? I say, everyone has a suit and a tie, and everyone looks really serious, and they all attack you. They say bad things about you. I say, what? This is the way it's in politics. I say, as soon as you run, first you have like a 80% popularity, and then as soon as you run, your popularity goes down to 50% because 50% of the other side, the other party. Yeah. So you run as a Republican, so it's 50% of the Democrats, they hate you, or they don't like you. And then the Republicans like you, but they don't even like you because they say, yeah, he's doing too socially liberal, whatever. So my campaign manager always said, this is Arnold, 20% of the people hate their mother, so don't worry about someone hating you. It's just the way it is in politics, you know. So anyway, so you have to make sacrifices like that. Imagine a sacrifice you have to take when you come to this country. I mean, you know what it's like. You leave everything behind. My friends, my parents, my relatives, everything that was around me that was kind of like a sure thing. I had a job after the military that I could go to continue on the job that I did as a salesman. I had all of this and I left all this for uncertainty because there was no certainty coming to America. There was Joe Weider that said, I'm going to help you. I find your apartment. I find your car. Yes, there were some people that helped a lot. He's the one that gave me the airline ticket to come to America and all this stuff. Joe Weider is the publisher of the muscle magazines. He has passed away in the meantime, but I mean, he was like the guru of bodybuilding. He created bodybuilding. The federation was created by his brother, Ben Weider, and Joe had the endless amount of magazines and distribution company for weight equipment, for food supplements and all that. So he brought me here, so there was some help like this. But I mean, I walked away from all of this comfort to come to America. So yet there were major, major sacrifices like that. But I really never looked at it in that way because I just say to myself, I want to go to America. I want to go and be there and work my way up to become the greatest bodybuilder of all times. And that's, you know, we are talking about one of the other rules.
Yes.
Is in my book, which is that to shoot for big goals.
Yeah, never think small.
Is just as much energy or as little energy as shooting for a little goal. You know, it's just as much hassle when you have a little goal. Like say, if I would say, I want to be Mr. Austria. Well, that's as much working out than working out for Mr. Europe or Mr. Universe. So, I mean, you might as well just continue on and just say, okay, all I have to do now, the difference really is that you have to become a real professional. You have to know how to pose. You have to have the right tan. You have to take the right food supplements. You have to eat the right food. You have to really fine tune. You have to get the definition. It's not just the size of the body. So the higher up you go, the more complicated it gets to win. And but I said to myself, to me, to shoot for the goal of being a world champion, it's just as easy as shooting for a goal of being Mr. Austria, being the Austrian champion. So I just went all out. And not only to win the world championships in bodybuilding, but to go beyond Reg Park, who won at that point 3 Mr. Universe titles, to go beyond that and to say, I want to actually become the greatest bodybuilder of all time. All times. That was my goal. And so that's why I had to come to America, where there is Muscle Beach, where there's Gold's Gym, where all the champions work out together. where there's Joe Weider that can be helpful and publish you and put you on the cover of his magazines and all of this to do the promotion, the campaign, the training, the marketing of bodybuilding and all that. So to me, this was really the only way to go is to come to Los Angeles. And on top of it, Los Angeles is known for Hollywood. And this is my next career. So I always say to myself, the word Reg Park, I saw him in Hercules movies. So can you believe that this guy won Mr. Universe 3 times, and then he was discovered in Rome, in Cinecittà. And they saw him there and they said, oh my God, you are Hercules.
Hercules, yeah.
We're going to send you to acting classes, into acting school, and you're going to play Hercules. And then Steve Reeves did the same thing, who was another Mr. Universe from 1950. Yeah, Steve Reeves from 1950, Reg Park 1951. So both of them became Hercules. Then there was many other bodybuilders that they did Hercules movies or those gladiator movies and muscle movies and stuff like that in the 60s that became very famous. But I mean, so I said to myself, if Reg Park could get into movies, maybe when I go to America and I become the world's greatest bodybuilder, then they would ask me to go into movies. And so this was the idea. So to me, it was natural. Oh, I said to myself, there's Hollywood in Los Angeles, there's Muscle Beach in Los Angeles, there's Coach Jim in Los Angeles, there's Joe Weider here. This is perfect. I have to go there. That was the reason why I went here.
Did you ever have a plan B?
I never believed in plan B because I felt kind of like one of the rules we have in my book is never listen to the naysayers.
Yeah.
You know, to me, I always felt kind of like every single dream of mine, and of course, I have to say they were outrageous dreams. So people said, this is stupid.
Yeah.
What is the matter with you? That would never happen. I mean, your dream is to go to America. What do you think, they're waiting for you over there? I mean, there's plenty of people over there. They have over 300 million in population. They don't need any more. And so that was the kind of saying, you would never make it to America. And they don't need you. So no, impossible. When I said I want to be a world champion in bodybuilding, it was impossible. When I said I want to get into movies, that was impossible. So it was always impossible. So I felt that we can go and defend ourselves from that and just not listen to the naysayers. But if I start having a plan B, then all of a sudden I'm becoming, in a way, a naysayer to myself.
Wow, yeah, true.
So because that means now that I'm saying, well, maybe this isn't working out. And if it's not working out, we should have a plan B. So to me, this is the most dangerous of all of the naysayers, is me saying no, and it's impossible maybe to myself. So therefore, I felt the best way of handling that is not to have a safety net and not to have a plan B. That I'm at risk, and therefore I have to be at all times on the edge and a 10, so I don't fall where I would need a safety net.
Yeah.
This is the way I had dealt with that issue. Never have a plan B, always go all out with my plan and really put 100% of effort into it in order to really achieve it. And I just always believed in my goals. I mean, I remember when I ran for governor and people said, you're crazy. I mean, you know, this great Davis is going to take you out. And then if he doesn't, Bustamante is the lieutenant governor. These are all seasoned politicians. You don't know anything about politics and blah, blah, blah. Why don't you run first for mayor? And why don't you do this? No. I was very clear with my vision. I could see myself as the governor because I felt that the people in California were very upset at the regular politicians. I mean, they were always talking about what they know and how smart they are and how they're going to fix things. In the meantime, we had a $30 billion deficit. In the meantime, we had blackouts. In the meantime, they were handing out driver's license to illegal immigrants, or what they call undocumented immigrants, and everything that the people were against and the people didn't like, the Indian gaming tribes were gambling and having gambling casinos, but not paying taxes. So they were mad about that. So I would just tell people, if I become governor, I would change all that. And the workers' compensation costs for businesses in California, I will cut that in half. That's why so many businesses left California, because of the cost of doing business. So I said, I will cut that in half. And so this is exactly, people bought in because I was talking believable. I mean, I could put my hand in the fire for the people to do the things that I promised. Those things will be done. And I said I would do most of those things before breakfast the first day when I'm in office. So that always sounded good. So in any case, but the people bought in. And I remember that when President Bush and those guys called me from the White House, and they said, you want the president to come out to campaign for you? I said, no. I said, because then it becomes kind of a political thing about the Republicans are helping each other. And then Gray Davis is going to have out, Bill Clinton and Al Gore and John Kerry and, all of those guys. And that's exactly what happened. He had all those people come out, campaign for him. And I told all of my guys, no, don't come out. Because I wanted to be the David and not the Goliath. Mm. I want to be the underdog and kind of say, look, this is just between me and the voters. Mm. So that was my vision. Not a political strategy vision, but I mean, that was my vision. I said, I have to be the person that is by himself, that is kind of crawling up there, and that is communicating with the voters. I don't need someone to speak for me or anything like that. Yes, you have your communications director and all this stuff, but I didn't need to have President Bush come out and speak for me. I didn't have to have the vice president come out to speak for me or anything like this. I wanted this to be between me and the thing, and it worked. People figured it out, that I'm out there, that I'm promising them, and they bought into it, and they won. And so this is why it is so important that you have really a 100% belief and not having to go and say, my plan B, if this doesn't work, is I'm going to go back to movies. Mm. Well, that will unfold anyway, but let's first go all out and not have a plan B. This is the thing. And so I've never had a plan B.